So most of us probably judge a song by one thing. Does it make me feel something or does it not? And that first feeling matters, but that feeling will never tell you the one thing you actually need. It will not tell you how the song was built. And if you don't know the structure that makes a story first song, then it's going to be really hard to pull it off yourself. So the song that we are pulling apart today, that is Pumpkin Man by Greg Amici. And this one sounds like a sweet little love song. Like a guy gets back together with the woman he lost and he is over the moon about it. But the whole time he is standing over a dead body. So did he dug her up? It's never said. This is never mentioned, but it seems like it. So I have pulled apart 1,000 song lyrics the same way as I'm gonna show you in this training. And this Pumpkin Man, this song is a great song to study because it is sneaky. It looks like one thing on the surface and it's a completely different thing underneath. So by the end of the training, you're gonna find out 3 things. The first one is the trick that hides a whole horror story in plain sight. The second one is the single craft move that you can steal and use in your own songwriting. And the third one is there are a few weak spots that I want to mention so that you know what you can improve in your own lyrics or know what to look out for if it ever happens in your own writing.
Welcome to the show of Story First Songwriting. I'm Melanie Naumann, your host, and I've broken down over 1,000 song lyrics in great detail with over 90 different criteria that I'm looking at in each song lyric to find out the patterns of what they have in common that makes them successful, what makes a great song good, and what makes a song that didn't stand the test of time, what could have been improved. So I'm always looking at lyrics through the lens of Story First Songwriting to explore how we can write songs that truly hook our audience, that make them engaged so they want to listen all the way through, and also songs that deliver a meaningful takeaway. And right now we are going through Greg Amici's album Tragic Comic because on June 30th, 2026, we have him in our school community for an interview.
So with one song a day, we are starting today. That's why we look at the first track, which is Pumpkin Man. So let's get straight to it. The song already opens with a shocking statement. Just the other day I said, I'd rather kiss the dead. So this line is a great opening hook. It's the first line that grabs your attention immediately and makes you want to know what happens next. So on a first listen, it sounds like a man who is done, like done waiting, maybe done with love. So you brace yourself for a breakup song or a sad song about grief. If he rather kisses the dead and kiss actually lets us know this is about love, then we know that he has gone through a very, very bad breakup and he is very devastated right now. So this is the first impression that we get of the song's main character. But then the surprising thing that actually happens is he starts celebrating. So he's now back with the woman that he had split up with because he's saying, I'm back with you. That means I'm back together with you. And this is also the refrain line that he keeps repeating. So we are actually, now we relax. We think, oh my God, that's great. He was so devastated. Now he's back together with her. I wonder how that happened, right? It's kind of the next question. You know the problem that he struggled with? He was super devastated because, he rather kissed the dead, so we know something bad had happened. But now I'm back with you, something positive. And we wonder, okay, there's a shift here from bad to positive. So how did it happen? So we are wondering about this, so we stay engaged because that question is what keeps us listening. So remember this feeling right now because it's actually setting you up. So if it sounds like a love song and it celebrates a reunion, then where's the horror that I promised you? So when we are on his website and we look at the lyrics of the song Pumpkin Man, then it already tells you something. He calls himself a pumpkin man. Once I was the pumpkin man. You know I had a wife, but I just couldn't keep her. And this actually points straight at this old nursery rhyme. Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife but couldn't keep her. Right? It's the same thing. And the first person character in this song, he's also that pumpkin man. I just couldn't keep her. So that first person tells us the same story. But we know now he's back together with her. So think about what that actually means. If he couldn't keep her and now he is back with her, then did he perhaps dug her up again? Think about this, because if that is true, then this was not a reunion with a living person. It is a reunion with a corpse. So please go back to that first line that we had here. Just the other day I said, I'd rather kiss the dead. And he meant it. He did it. And that is where this whole strange thing actually starts. And once you see that, every weird little detail clicks into place. And he's actually fighting off the flies that want to spoil my day glow. He's fighting off the flies. So what does he actually do about it? He says, I'm trading my horns for an electric halo. that'll keep me energized and keep away the flies. So he's getting this kind of technical gear to get rid of the flies. And of course, if there's a corpse, there probably are flies. And then he also keeps swearing that he is in perfect health. So this is a man who's now standing over a corpse that he pulled out of the ground, and he's keeping the flies of it. And he's calling himself Reborn. So that is indeed what the album promises. Tragic comic. And so the album title is doing its job here. So it's really grotesque and absurd at the same time. So right down to that little nursery chant that we have in the end, like la 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 la. This is just connected. And it's like so weird to have it together like this. Now, I have a confession to make about this song because it breaks a rule and it actually gets away with it. Because normally what I always say is we need context, right? We want to know who, where, and what is going on. We need those specific details to make sense of the story, to know what's really going on. But when I run this song through that breakdown, it really scores low on the context side of things and also on the specific detail. So we are never plainly told what actually happens. We are never told where we are. We have to kind of put it together ourselves, what's really going on, what is meant by those lyrics, what is meant by what is said. And in most songs, that's actually a problem when your audience is so confused about what is going on. Because a confused listener, they leave. They are not going to stay and listen to the song because they don't have any idea how it can actually help them in their own life. And if they listen to the song because they struggle with a similar problem and they felt like, oh, this song could be something for me, and then it's not delivering and they just end up confused, then they look for something else that could possibly help them. But here, that confusion, it actually works for him because Greg doesn't really spell it out what's actually going on. But your own mind reaches in and fills the gaps that are missing. And you paint a certain picture all on your own with the information that you can gather. And that information is that you know that this character kissed the dead and then he was paralyzed and something changed because now he's back together with her. So whatever he did, he probably did that, and something happened here that made it possible that they are now back together. This is the information that we have. And then he keeps on saying that he now has this electric halo, whatever kind of gear that is, and it's keeping away the flies. And then when we refer back to the story of the Pumpkin Man, who also held his wife captive, but the next lines actually tell us that he now got a second chance, and if I dig a hole, it's gonna be much deeper. That means the previous hole that he dug wasn't that deep. So it actually makes sense that, as strange as it sounds, that he dug her up, he kissed the dead, and then he was paralyzed and hypnotized. Oh my God, he has her back, right? He's now I'm back with you. Like, it's creepy. It's absurd. It's really fascinating to think about it like this. And of course, it's never stated. And this is what makes it so creepy. And you know, the first time that I read the lyrics, I thought like, oh my God, like what's going on? Is my first impression of the song, is that real? So I had to read it again to figure out like, okay, what's really going on here? And what happened here? Like the way for me, like as I read the lyrics, this is actually why it is a creepy song, because the truth is held back. You're just sitting there with your own sane mind, trying to puzzle together the pieces, and you start to doubt yourself, thinking, oh my God, that can't be true. But is it? Like you really doubt your own sanity, and this brings you right into the realm of horror. Okay, so now the big trick that I was talking about, the one that flips the entire song. And yeah, please pay attention to this, because this is the lesson that you can actually apply to your own songwriting. Because every song has what we call an external content genre. So this is just a fancy way of asking two things. What kind of trouble is the song about? And what is on the line? And in this song, we first assume, of course, that it's gonna be a love song, because we have that first line, which is saying kiss. And that's really standing for a love song. But in a love song, we talk about social stakes. So here it's all about the sense of belonging, of being with someone. It's about the question of whether two people will end up together. So it's all about love and belonging. But a thriller is about physical stakes, the body. It's all about life and death. And when we look at the lyrics of the Pumpkin Man, then we really have to pay attention to the choice of words. So he says, I rather kiss the dead. So this belongs to the body, right? We have the flies. They are also physical, right? It's all about the body. Then we have perfect health. So again, this is about the body. And he also mentions dig a hole just much deeper. So that's also about the body. It's like how he's talking about those things. It's all about the body. It's all about life. So it's never about that social level, even though we have it in the refrain line with now I'm back with you. But it's not us, right? It's just I'm back with you. Like I physically have you. Even if you are a corpse in my arms, but I have you back. right? So it's all still on that physical level. So the move that I announced in the beginning is that the song Pumpkin Man, it kind of wears a costume of being a love song. So it's kind of like the sheep in wolf's clothing. So we have that celebration of, yes, I'm back together with you. Oh, that's awesome, right? I'm back together with you. But underneath the costume, there's actually the truth. And so it's a thriller. It's about life and death. And it's kind of horror, of course, as well. Because we also doubt the sanity of the song's first-person character. And that's a really great thing that the songwriter pulled off here. Like to have a horror story or a thriller dressed as a love song. And that really hits the nail with, oh, this is tragic comic. Okay, now we talked about that trick, and now let's meet the people, because there's a second twist hiding in who is actually a who. And through every story, we need to know, what do the characters actually want? And we call the thing a character wants their object of desire. This is just a way of saying that's the thing that they are after. And those things, when we look at the protagonist and antagonist, the things that they are after, they need to be in conflict. So what about our song's main character? Who's the protagonist? And protagonist means that this is the person who has to respond to whatever the antagonist actually wants from them. The antagonist is going to be the one that causes the inciting incident. It's going to upset the world of the protagonist, and the protagonist has to deal with it. So when we look at the Pumpkin Man and also at the song's first-person character, then he mentioned, then I was just paralyzed. And so paralyzed is a reaction. So something acted on him first. So whatever happened to him, that was the disruption. That was the antagonistic force. And because something actually happened between him kissing the dad and now I'm back with you, and this was his reaction, this puts him into the role of the protagonist. And his object of desire, the thing that he wants, is of course to stay together with her. He wants her back. And so basically, he wants her back without ever accepting that she's gone. Now, generally speaking, in storytelling, when we talk about the antagonist, then this is the force that's going to apply pressure because they want something from the protagonist. And so we need to know, like, what do they want? And in this song, we never learn what she actually wants. And if she is truly dead, then she cannot want anything at all. So we never know what she truly wants. So we are thinking about, okay, how can this then create conflict? Because conflict is like you have two opposing ones. Like one person wants to keep her, the other one wants to go, right? Then you have direct conflict. Or as we talked about last week in the community, when we talked about the song Fancy by Bobby Gentry, then we have two people who want the same thing, but in a different way. But here it's clearly that we probably have opposing wants. Because if he dug her out, then she probably just wanted a peaceful resting place. And then this dude, he like digs her up again. Oh, my God, not even in death she can rest. But when we truly look at the lines, then we never ever find out what she wants. We only get his side of things. So now that we know who is the protagonist, and we know there's a woman who cannot fight back, we also wonder, like, where does it all happen? And when we talk about the location, then regarding the place, we don't have any location mentioned. So we don't know where he actually is. The only thing that he mentioned is that he's gonna dig a hole that's gonna be much deeper. So that's the only indication of place that we get, but it's still implied. And for the time, he actually mentions just the other day, now, and once. And even the lyrics, they go through the tenses from past to present tense and also to the future tense. So we have that entire progression from he had a wife, he now has a wife, and he's going to threaten her to stay his wife. So now let's talk about the 5 commandments, the 5 story moments that actually make a story. And those are the moments that show up in every working story. We have an inciting incident, we have a turning point, a crisis, a climax, and a resolution. And in the 4th one, in the climax, you will find the sickest twist of this entire song. So if this hasn't yet been like a shock to you, what we are talking about, then there's another one coming in the climax. But first, let's start with the inciting incident. So the inciting incident is always an unexpected event that disturbs the protagonist's way of life. Something happens, they didn't see it coming, it's a surprise, and it's basically coming from the antagonist. And here in those lyrics, the inciting incident is only implied, but it's not shown. We don't really know what happens, but we get his reaction that he was paralyzed. So what we read into it is that the old feelings might have rushed back and he missed her and he just dug her up and then he kissed her and then something happened. The old feelings really came back and made him actually appreciate that now he's back together with her. And every story between the inciting incident and turning point, it has progressive complications that make the situation worse, that adds pressure onto the protagonist. And here it's really absurd because we have like another physical roadblock. And now that he has dug her up, we have the flies and they want to spoil his day glow. Like they want to spoil that they are now back together. So he is responding to that by building an electric halo to keep them off. So that's truly like the comedy underneath all of this. Like, it's just great. just imagining this, like, what's really going on here? So fun. And then, like, he picks denial over the truth. Now I do declare myself a man of perfect health. And like, oh my God, this guy, is he truly saying that? I don't think so. Like, is that a corpse in his garden? And like, he is denying the truth. And the turning point is always a refusal from the protagonist to do what the antagonist or the force of antagonism wants them to do. And probably if there's a corpse in the garden, it wants you to see the truth. She is dead. You killed her. You already dug a hole for her. She is dead. She cannot be any deader, right? So, but he's denying it. He's saying like, oh no, I'm a man of perfect health. So he is really refusing what's happening. And then of course he's facing a crisis. And it's the antagonistic force that's going to push the crisis onto the protagonist by kind of doing like this do or else ultimatum. And here we have like this internal twist in his head where he thinks like, if all of this isn't true, if you had just been teasing, right? And teasing is actually the strong word because it tells us the consequence of what could happen if this was in fact not true, right? If this was all his imagination and yeah, everything is wrong about this. Like, what actually is happening? Like, what happens then? And now he's in that crisis. What am I going to do then? If this was never real and you were just teasing with me, And so the climax now is, of course, his choice. What is he going to do about this? And his choice is that his decision is becoming a threat. So he's saying, now I've got a second chance, and if I dig a hole, it's going to be much deeper. So he chooses to threaten her just so that she stays. And the resolution is that you can see that in the end here too, that he's continuing to say, now I'm back with you, now I'm back with you. And he's celebrating, right? With la, 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 la. So she must have stayed. But we don't know if it was because she wanted to, or if she is indeed a corpse, then she doesn't even have a say in it. But this la la la, it shows us that he's like completely unwell as the song's main character there. So now let's talk about the sickest move in the entire song is that his climax, his choice that he decides to do is also the crisis for her. So he's threatening her to dig a hole that's going to be much deeper so he can keep her there, right? So that he's not going to lose her again. But for her, that's a trap, right? Because he's cornering her into staying. So we have this kind of dynamic of the attacker and the victim. And like she now has to make a choice about what he wants from her, even if it's a corpse, but he's giving her that choice to better not have teased him, that this is all true, that they are back together, or he will dig a hole for her much deeper. And then when we look at the song now in general, then we know like on the surface, things are changing. Like he was alone in the beginning and at the end they are back together. And it looks like a happy change, right? Because of that love story aspect. But then it actually creeps us out with what actually happens. But underneath, of course, there is no character transformation. He doesn't change as a person. He just says like, okay, first time I tried to keep you, didn't work because you died and I had to dig a hole for you. But next time to keep you, I'm just going to dig a hole that's much deeper and then I will be able to keep you. So he didn't learn anything. He just like does the same thing all over again. And then another question that you want to answer when you analyze song lyrics is you had the conflict between the protagonist and the antagonist. And so of course you want to know like who wins the conflict. And here he wins the conflict because he wanted to keep her and he gets to keep her. Right? Because he is turning into the antagonist in this kind of twist that we were talking about, that his climax decision is becoming her crisis and she decides to stay. So this is ultimately how it all turns out. He wins the conflict. He's celebrating. So it's just tragic comic. Like it's the perfect word for it. But if you look at the song and wonder, okay, like every story song, it has to communicate a meaningful message to the audience, then this is a strange one. Because you have witnessed something that's so surreal, so weird. And so the message, like the silent message inside the song is like, if someone has you captive, you do what they want you to do, right? Because we have that threat. And is that truly the right choice? We don't know, because when we look at this song and the person who was captured by him was already dead and it's a corpse, then when we are a corpse and someone digs us out, I think we don't care about like what's happening. We don't have a choice in the matter anymore. So even that message is not helpful. Like when you are dead and someone is gonna hold you captive, what are you gonna do? Like it's not gonna serve us as a message. Okay, and now let's talk about the last part, the refrain line, now I'm back with you. Because the first time we hear it, it's like, hey, we're back together. Now I'm back with you. This is kind of like joy and celebration, right? The next time, the flies try to spoil his day glow. And it's still resisting, like, now I'm back with you. It's more like a statement of fact, like, this is now our new present moment. like we are now back together. And then the next time we hear it, this actually happens after the threat. So now I'm back with you. So you can see how it all changes from this joy of being back together. This is why we think initially that it's all about love, like, hey, let's celebrate, we're back together. Then it turns into a fact. And then in the end, it turns into that threat. Now I'm back with you. So we have the same line, but in 3 different ways how it feels to us. So, and if you want to steal this for your own songwriting, then always remember that you want to keep the same line. You don't necessarily want to change your chorus lines or your refrain lines, because then people can't sing along to it anymore. Sometimes we want them not to sing along anymore, and it's a specific technique to change the chorus, but we only do that with a specific intention, with a purpose in mind. In general, you want to leave those lines the same so that they can be repeating lines, and you just change what comes before that. So what comes before that actually builds up the meaning of that one line or the chorus that you are going to lead up into. And now let's just look what the songwriter Greg Amici is doing really well. So the one really great thing that was very surprising was that he was hiding a horror thriller inside a love song. And he uses that gap of us not having enough context of what's going on, that vagueness. He's using that on purpose. So I think he is. We have to ask him. And then, of course, we have the horror and comedy. Like, those two go together, because just when we read this line, the mix with the nursery rhyme, and then he is like annoyed by all the flies, and he's putting up like an electric halo. It's just this guy, like this song's main character here, it's just like, it's crazy. It's so weird and so strange. The things that it leaves you with to think about, like, oh, is that really true? So yeah, it's just a really entertaining song. And I'm really interested to hear your take on it. So please let me know in the comments. And yeah, also a very good skill to have, to be able to use one repeated line, and it's going to be able to represent how the story changes, how it progresses, and it still works with that one line. So that's a really good job that he's pulling off. And of course, as I mentioned, the vagueness that we have, that it turns into dread because we don't really know what's really going on. We are doubting our sanity. We are doubting the sanity of the song's main character. So that's quite entertaining. And of course, there are also areas that could be stronger. Here, for example, it is that we only have a one-sided conflict. We don't know what the woman or the corpse actually wants. Like, if it's a corpse, it can't want anything, but we want to see like how there's a real struggle between conflicting wants, either because they differ in the approach or they differ because both characters want something different. So, but here we only have a one-sided conflict, but it kind of works, especially if it's intended that this woman is already dead. Then of course it can only be one-sided. But we have to ask Greg if that's really the case with that song. And yes, it's also a little hard to follow because we have no idea. We think when he says, I'd rather kiss the dead, it's like he doesn't want to do something, right? When we say something, it has this negative association to it. Like when we say it and we think like, before I do this, I would rather kiss the dead. I would rather do this. Like, what's the best bad choice? But here, as it turns out, it seems like it was something that he actually wanted to do. Like just the other day I said, oh, I'd rather kiss the dead. Like, I would really like to do this. So let's just dig her up and kiss her. And then I was like paralyzed. And now I'm hypnotized because like, oh my God, look at that beauty. Now we're back together. And those flies, they are really bothering me. So let's buy this electric halo here. And I'm like, I'm really a good guy here because I'm trading in my horns. I'm now having this electric halo because I dug you up again. I saved you. So you can be out of the ground again. But you better don't tease me. You better don't like let me think this is real. And then it's something else. You better not lie to me. Because if you do, you know, I'm a pumpkin man. And you know that I had a wife. You know that I had a wife, right? But I just couldn't keep her because I probably killed her and I dug a grave for her that wasn't deep enough. But if you lie to me, then I'm going to dig a hole that's going to be much deeper and then I'm going to leave you in there. So that's kind of how it comes together. If you allow yourself for this kind of thinking. So I don't know how you perceive the lyrics. That's why it's always good that you look at the lyrics before I actually talk about them, so you can have your own take on it. But yeah, it's just really interesting to look at this one particular song. That's really a good song for an album that is called Tragic Comic to introduce that theme, because it's right there. He delivered on the promise that the album's title named. So yeah, this is it for today. And tomorrow we are going to look at the song Spin That Ball, because when you look also, when you go to Greg Amici to lyrics, then Pumpkin Man is for the first track. And the second track is Spin That Ball. So you can go and start reading this song, those song lyrics. You can also listen to them if you would like to. Then ask yourself a couple of questions to start learning how to analyze other songs. Because the more we analyze and break down other songs, the more we can actually learn for our own songwriting. So try to find out, okay, what do you like about those lyrics? What do you not like? And why could that be? Especially when we look through the lens of story first songwriting, you want to start with being clear on who is the antagonist, who is the protagonist, what does the antagonist want, what does the protagonist want, and is there actually conflict? If there's no conflict, then there's not going to be a story. And then we dive into what are the story moments. But you don't have to do all of that, just pick something, one thing, like for example, is there conflict in there? Is there a crisis in there that the character has to face? And a crisis is always a crossroad moment where someone has to choose either going that path or that path. That's the crossroad moment. So a crisis is not just a problem that they're struggling with, even though it's good if a song actually has someone struggling with a problem, but a crisis is a crossroad moment. So yeah, that's it for tomorrow. And I also mentioned you can also just look at the opening line. Like the opening line of that song, does it actually hook you? Does it make you want to know how it continues? You can look at the external genre. What is it all, like the content? What is it about? Is it about love? Is it about performance? Is it a thriller? Is it horror? Is it western? Is it an action story about life and death, right? You can ask yourself, what is it actually? What do the characters want? Who's the protagonist? And if you are already more skilled in story first songwriting, you can try to find out what are the 5 commandments? Are they actually inside the song? And yeah, break it down yourself first. And then when you watch my analysis, just follow along with me and we do it together.
Thank you so much for listening. When you enjoyed the show, there's a lot more going on inside our community of story first songwriters on School. You can share your own song lyrics. You can follow along what other songwriters do. You get trainings, feedback, and a great community who all support each other. And to join us, just click the link in the description below. We are looking forward to having you.